y'all, what's up, what's good? It's your girl Michaela Jane here, back with another quick little video, and today we're going to be talking about reading. First, I want to go over the books that I read in October. Of course, I read a book club book. So in the book club, of course, they're not reading only clean closed doors books, but books that are deemed secular. But last month the book actually wasn't too bad. I have seen some Christian booktubers actually read this book because it was pretty clean. There's a little bit of language in it, but not much. It is mainly a mystery. First book is The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. This book was so popular all over the internet, mainly because Freida McFadden is a very popular writer. She puts out a lot of books per year, and all of them are mystery based. Not all of them are centered around a relationship like this one. So I feel like that's what made this one a little bit different from her regular books, is what I'm hearing. A lot of people like The Housemaid and that little series, and they said those are her better books, and everyone who likes Freida McFadden says that this is their least favorite book, and I can definitely see why, because I did not like this book. I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars. After I read the synopsis, I'm going to tell you why. It says, Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect, a mystery man who dates the victim before he kills them. Sydney should feel safe. After all, she's dating the guy of her dreams, but she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as she seems, because someone is watching her every move, and if she doesn't get to the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. Now, from that synopsis, this book would seem like it's good, but it's not. I think it was the writing. No, I know it's the writing. It felt very simple. It felt kind of like it read like a Wattpad story. You know, I did not enjoy the writing. I feel like this book had so much potential. The story was very interesting, and to me the twist didn't justify all the other things I disliked about the book. Okay, the twist was pretty good. It got me. I had no idea that the person who ended up being the killer was going to be the killer, but I was not a fan of Sydney. Sydney was not one of my favorite female MCs at all. I do not like women that make bad choices in books and just are too naive to situations and don't like stick up for themselves. And Sydney just looked the opposite way of every single red flag that was put in front of her, and I just cannot agree with that. I don't like it, and I don't enjoy to read it. But everything else was okay. It was an okay book. It was easy to get through. I love that there wasn't too much language. You know, there was nothing that I had to skip over. It is a easy read for someone who is a Christian. It's just a little annoying because Sydney makes some of the dumbest choices I've ever read in a book. But like I said, if this was probably written by a different author, it might have been a little bit better because the premise was so interesting. The twist was really good. But when it comes to mystery, sometimes I like a little bit of breadcrumbs left for me to try to grasp who the killer is a little early, or who could possibly have motive, or what's going on. In this book you had breadcrumbs, but it was all leading to all of the wrong people, and that's good. That makes for a good mystery. But once you got to the person who was the killer, you're like, there was no breadcrumbs for you. I had no idea why you would commit the act. In the book you saw the why, but you don't know her backstory of why she's like, oh, let me not give nothing away. Why are they like this? Okay, why are they like this? I'm not going to use any pronouns because I almost gave it away. No spoilers. But 2 out of 5 stars. It's going to keep you entertained, I guess, but it's not one of my favorites. Okay, so the next thing that I read in the month of October was an ARC. Once again, I'm so grateful to be receiving advanced reader copies. Like, you just do not understand. That's why I said I really want to get more involved in the book community. Like, I don't know if I need a book Instagram. I don't know if I want to do some tags. I need to do something because I've been so appreciative of all of the ARCs I'm getting approved for, and I've been really keeping up to date with my Goodreads, leaving reviews there. So make sure you follow me on Goodreads so you can see more in depth, because on Goodreads I'm able to get my thoughts out a little bit better and flesh out my thinking of the book reviews. So if you want more in-depth reviews, plot points, all type of stuff like that, tropes, it's over on my Goodreads. But this book was a 5 out of 5 stars for me, and this is For the Love of Donuts by Pixie Perkins. This is my first read by this author, so I was so glad that she approved me for her art. This was a clean romance, but she said she was going to include like kissing and stuff like that, but it did not cross any borderlines at all. Like, I felt completely comfortable reading the book. And then I love that it had some interracial dating. It gave some representation in this book, because I do believe that the guy guy was black, so I love that. So the description says, if at first you don't succeed, get engaged. Sky Carson. Let me be clear, I know lying to get a promotion is all sorts of wrong, but I can't be the social media team assistant at Dobell Donuts forever, right? And telling my romance loving boss that I'm engaged just seemed like the best excuse for why I've been distracted at work. I definitely wasn't going to tell her that it's because I'm tired of my current job title. However, I did tell her that my fiance's name is Tatum, as in Tatum, who happens to be my very platonic best friend. Oh yeah, and then I mentioned she's expecting to meet him. Tatum Jacobs. Was offering to be Sky's fake fiance a good idea? Probably not, especially since I keep thinking about her in a not so friend way. But I couldn't just leave her hanging. I'd do anything for that girl. And when her boss provides a chance for me to get my publicity as a photographer, I know there's no going back on this engagement. I need a real photo studio. I just hope our friendship is strong enough to survive all this pretending. That is, unless Sky wants something more. This book left me so hungry. Like, this author was describing these donuts, making them sound so good, because one thing I love is a specialty donut. Oh, the donuts in this book just sounded delicious, delectable. Like, love a good donut. So this book definitely made me hungry. Once again, like I said, I love the representation that it was an interracial couple. That was really cute, because most authors, I feel, shy away from including black characters in their book, especially when they're a main character. I love when it's a woman, but if I can get a black male, I'm fine with that too. But I loved the female MC. She was so quirky. I loved her friend who was crocheting. You guys know I crochet, so I love some representation. And then I believe that she was Hispanic, so I also love that. I would love to get the friend's story, because how she was obsessed with that guy was very interesting. I'm like, okay, how is that going to work out? So I don't know if she already has the books in the work for them, but I loved their little story. I also love the adoption representation in this book. I'm very interested, and I have a heart for foster care and adoption. So to see that Sky's sister had adopted twins, it was just the cutest thing ever. So I love that representation in this book also. But when it comes to Tatum and Sky, I love that Tatum loved Sky from the beginning. Like, he always had these feelings, but he was being so respectful of Sky, not going too far, not really sharing those feelings until he knew for sure that they were going to be reciprocated. I'm not going to give a spoiler, but to me, how the lie came out, and it kind of worked out almost too perfectly. But I'm glad it wasn't like terrible ramifications. Like, it wasn't completely realistic how it happened to me, but I love that it happened that way, and it, you know, didn't cause major damage in Sky's life. I hope that's not giving away too much spoilers. You know, I usually hate lying and I hate miscommunication, because you just lie for no reason. Like, tell the truth. Because once it got down to it, I'm like, if y'all like each other, just go ahead and get married right now. Like, I just loved this book so much. I just felt it was so cute, the things that they were doing for the little fake wedding. And it was not only fake dating, but I think this was my only like fake engagement book that I've read. I believe, I don't think they've gotten that far before when it comes to the fake dating trope, but I really loved it. It was done well, and I'm glad, like, from the beginning she felt guilty and she wasn't too comfortable in the lie. So I feel like that's what made me, you know, really enjoy this book a little bit more, because sometimes people be too comfortable with the lie and they just want to keep it going, and other people have to convince them that it's wrong. But she knew the whole time that the lie was wrong. And Tatum was just so supportive. I loved the dates that he planned for her. He supported her love of donuts. Like, loved it. This book was definitely a 5 out of 5 stars for me. And the next book that I read was also an arc, and let me just say, I can talk about this book for like hours, and it is Off the Bench by Tiffany Noel Chacon. I want to say Chasson. I don't know, I'm from Louisiana, so I always say like something Cajun. I'm so thankful for this book because I just loved it. Once again, it was a interracial couple, but this time the female MC was black, and I ate it up. If I can give this book a 10 out of 10, I would. This is my first book by this author. I was approved for her arc. So thankful, because I just felt so seen, so represented in this book. It was on a level that I never felt seen and represented before in a book. This author just got it so right. She got it so right. Like, I kept having to go to the author profile, and I was like, is this author of color or is she not? Because it was too good. It was too spot on. From the description of her braids to her aunt having sister locks and she had to go retie them, from them listening to Forrest Frank. Her dad was the GM for the Buccaneers. Her uncle was the coach for the Buccaneers. She was, you know, comfortable in wealth, and there was no struggle, which I loved. She was in a nice paying job and she was high up in her career, and I just love to see a serious black woman doing her thing. And I loved also that it didn't take her too long to kind of like break down and soften herself and really trust herself to be with Austin, who I completely loved. Austin was also amazing in this story. I would have fell for him too, but Danny really took my heart because this story was just so beautiful. She was a football analyst for the Buccaneers. Like I said, she worked under her uncle and her dad on the Buccaneers, and she saw a lot of promise in Austin when no one else did. He was undrafted and she went and go pick him up herself, offered him third string, I believe it's called, on the football team. I'm not a sports person, but I love sports romance. He took the deal, went back with her, and she made a bet with another field analyst named Ethan that Austin was going to become the quarterback and he was going to win like majority of the games. I think the bet was that, and the story took off from there. Not only did she have to convince everyone else that Austin was amazing and that he can be the best quarterback like Tom Brady and he can, you know, win the games for the team, but she also had to convince Austin. So her and Austin kind of went in together on the bed and they did some yoga. She taught him how to eat right. She was basically coaching him on how to be confident in his own skills and how to hone that in, which I love to see. And he was just enamored with Danny the whole time. He would have did whatever she said, and I loved that. One thing I didn't like in the book was the cousin Portia. Like, she was hating low-key a little bit because she was like, don't be with him, don't be with him, it's not worth it. I was like, girl, stop. Yes, it is. Like, take a chance on love, because that's one thing for sure as black women. Once we get in our career, she wanted so much to seem professional and she wants to just be seen as a human, not as a woman, not as less than, that she wasn't trusting herself to be in a relationship in the workplace, let alone with a football player, because in college she had a bad experience with the football player. She thought they were dating and he ended up with a whole model on like the cover of a magazine, I believe, and that scarred her. She didn't want to date football players anymore, but I'm so glad she was able to trust Austin. I loved his family. They were the sweetest. This book was just so cute. This is definitely going in my top 5 of the year, and I cannot wait to read more from this author. Like, I just loved the representation. I loved her talking about her relationship with her dad and the stepmom, her mom passing away. Like, the details, this felt like a movie to me. I love when there's enough details and just the right amount of characters in their story to make you just feel like you're in it and feel connected to the choices each character makes, and just, ooh, I love it. Because in a romance, you know they're going to come together in the end, but it's really all the moving pieces in the middle that make the story, and this story was just chef's kiss. So amazing. I loved it. And Austin was just amazing. I loved that he planned the date, he got her a dress. Like, it was just so cute. Loved this book. I can't go on and talk about it forever. Okay, so I think those are all the books I read in October. That really doesn't seem right to me, but I think it took me a long time to get through The Boyfriend, so I didn't really read anything else and I was busy. Yeah, let me know what you guys are currently reading. Let me know what's the last book you read, and do you have a favorite Christmas book? Okay, do you like to read holiday romances? Are you in the mood like that? But that is all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will be seeing you guys in next week's video. It's gonna be a hair video because my hair needs to be washed so bad. Next is coming up, it's gonna be hair for sure. Okay, I'll see you then.